Welcome everyone to the Zions Bank Real Academy Grand Opening Celebration. My name is Brian Dunseth. In the next hour or so, we're going to hear from some really important people. Real Salt Lake owner Deloy Hansen, MLS Commissioner Don Garber, Utah Sports Commission's Jeff Robbins, Zions Bank CEO Scott Anderson, Herriman City Assistant City Manager Gordon Haight, and Real Salt Lake Head Coach Mike Pecky. Welcome to yet another landmark day in the history of Real Salt Lake. Looking at this campus, another reminder of Mr. Hansen's commitment to creating the infrastructure to sport here in the state of Utah. Today, we're here to formally and officially unveil yet another world-class venue that represents the entire pyramid of this club, top to bottom, one which impacts the sport we all know and love in the state of Utah and chart the future course of our community. So without further ado, my pleasure to introduce Real Salt Lake owner, Mr. Deloy Hansen.
Couple levels above for sure. To have this beautiful facility, it's just awesome. Especially for these young kids and us, it's everything we need to be successful.
Premier League standard facility, you know, and there are not many in MLS like this, so hopefully, you know, this will be a standard for this league as well.
This new setup here, I think the investment in this club is gonna, go towards the field, and you'll see some big things happening.
He's provided everything that we need to succeed.
I mean, look at this. I mean, this could be in Alaska, and I'd want to go play there.
Professionalism, the training, the facilities are all been top class.
I said straight away when I came in here, it's up there with the top Premier League teams. I've been lucky enough to go to a lot of them, not only as in first team but in the academy. I've been to a lot of these facilities, and this is, as good as you will get.
This is the future of the team, the bright future.
Great. Wow. Thank you for celebrating with us today. It's been a long time in coming. It's been a lot of work. A lot of people here on the stand and in the audience have been amazing contributors to a community, league, and company effort, Real family effort. My goal today is that you get to meet the people who put this together and those that were critical in creating the vision. So first, I'd like to introduce Jeff Robbins, who's standing in for Governor Herbert, and I want Jeff to stand up by me while we talk, because we go way back. Pull that picture out. Have you got that?
I do have this. I'm going to show these guys. Now this is real quick. This is Deloy and I in Moscow, Red Square. Okay.
He's showing a picture when we were in Moscow in Red Square, and I got a big Russian hat on when we were doing sports commission work. How many years back was that?
Boy, that was in 2003, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It goes way back. I was one of the founders of the Utah Sports Commission over 20 years ago.
About 20 years ago.
20
now.
years. And Jeff and I have worked together under numerous circumstances. He's a marginally good tennis player. We played a little, can't beat him. But he represents Governor Herbert, who has declared Utah to be the state of sport. So I've sat in numerous meetings where we've said we're going to double down and do whatever it takes to make Utah the state of sport. That's our definition. If you're a sports person, you're going to come to Utah. You're going to train for Olympics on ice skating, skiing, soccer. This is the place that you find the state of sport. That's Jeff's moniker. He's led that commission now for how many years?
She's almost 20.
20 years. So we are great friends. He is an amazing friend of the RSL family. When we've needed to bring in the women's national team to play, and it looked like U.S. Soccer was going to haul most of the money out, and it was going to be a little hard, he helped find funds within the state to make sure we could play those national games here. He's helped us bring in major European teams so that we could see the best in the world here in Utah. He's been an amazing supporter. The governor is 100% with us. So I want to turn the time over to Jeff to represent the governor, and he can tell us a little about Utah and the state of sport.
Absolutely. Thank you, Deloy. If you want to look at this picture after, you can. I'll keep it though. It takes a vision, and in about 2003, we were looking at, and Deloy was part of this, what's the next major professional franchise that Utah could host? What could we get? And I was telling the commissioner, Mark Abbott, made a trip to Utah. And he said, well, boy, we think the MLS is really starting to grow and we think it has a bright future. And so one of the initiatives, over 15 years ago now, that we started looking at was, would it make sense to bring an MLS franchise to Utah? Could they host the next professional team? And so to be here today, I was just in Korea, South Korea last week at another great world event, and to look at this facility and the kind of training center that's been built, and think back 20 years ago almost, when we started talking about bringing a franchise here, what it would take. It's remarkable to see what's been built. Now, Deloy is great to give credit to everybody, but the vision and looking forward, not to just have this be a Utah team. He'll laugh and say it's the state of soccer. Utah's now the state of soccer, and it is. But it's not just Utah. This is America's team. This is becoming an international team. I brought this because my sense is that Deloy will have a little bit to do with some international soccer too. So as we walked Russia, and he's a hard bargainer with watches and pins and different things, and he drives things. He just has a vision to do that. So I couldn't be more thrilled to be here on behalf of the governor. He's supportive of sports in Utah. He's supportive of this team, this tremendous facility. We want to bring more events into Utah. We want to do more. I'd like to also thank the commissioner for coming. Commissioner, thank you. Thank you for having the belief that Utah could host a major league franchise and believing us. Zion's a great sponsor of sporting events. When we need help, one of the first stops I make is to Scott Anderson and Zion's. And part of doing a great thing in sports here is creating great partnerships. Zion's, Herriman City, all of those who have come together to make this possible, hats off to you. We're happy to play whatever role we can to just build this and hopefully continue forward. Thank you.
Okay, this is what I do when we were at the high school. We got musical chairs here. They're not here, and I can't stand to see vacant seats, so I'm not going to talk until some of you guys run over and sit down. Run, run, run. Chop, chop. If you see a vacant seat, sit down. We want to make this feel full. That's what Andy has to hear from me all the time. Whenever I see vacant seats in the stadium, I said, find out who's not here. Send him a letter. Today, I wanted to introduce two people, Jeff and the governor, but in particular, Commissioner Don Garber. What an amazing man Don Garber is. He has been at the founding of Major League Soccer. I came in as a kind of a pistol-y young owner, thought I knew a little, found out I knew very little, but there was a lot to learn. And I've watched him grow what I will consider in the next 5 years to be one of the 5 best leagues in the world. It is painful as hell to do that. It's hard. It's not easy. And I've sat through board meeting after board meeting and phone call. He's untirable. He's become not just a commissioner, but a dear friend. He constantly encourages me, constantly reaches out, and he's become a great figure in leading 22 strong-willed owners to a very great place. He laid the vision for youth soccer in America. He laid the vision for the Monarchs. He obviously kept this league alive when it was in peril, just as RSL came in, and now it prospers. So Don is not just a commissioner, but he's a man dedicated to this sport. It's in his blood. He lives it, he breathes it. He's dedicated 23 years to it. And I want him to know that I count him, even though I got the biggest fine in MLS history. but I count him as my dear, dear friend. It was a learning moment, is what we call it. A learning moment of how you control your speech. So, but he told me it went to charity, so I felt very, very good about that. So as Dawn comes up, I just see the Arctic Solar guys, and I want you to know that these lights, will you guys jump up? Jump up. This facility is 80% powered by Arctic Solar. So these lights, we're not burning fossil fuel right now. We're burning sun power that lights this facility, and our great partners of Arctic Solar make me feel really good about that. So thank you, guys. Dawn, I'm sorry I interrupted that great intro, but I just saw those guys and I thought of the sunlight, and I'm a little strange. So, Dawn, could you come on up?
Now you know why we all love Deloy. Boy, it's just so great to be here today. I have spent quite a bit of time here in Salt Lake since we first started thinking about coming here in 2003, and then the team launching in 2005. And I have to say, in my wildest dreams, even after all of the trials and tribulations of growing the sport in the US and Canada, I never thought I'd ever see anything quite like this. It is absolutely awe-inspiring and spectacular. And it starts with great vision. It's kind of going to be the Deloy pat-pat show. That's what we say when we're really nice to our owners. But Deloy, you have this remarkable capacity to dream and to build. And there are a lot of dreamers who have great dreams but can't turn them into reality. And then there are those that have the capacity to align everybody with a shared vision. And that shared vision are all the people that Deloy gives so much credit to around him, and his family and all the staff that he has at now his 3 clubs. But when he laid out his plan for this to his partners, the MLS board, it was nothing like this. And I just want to start by saying, Deloy, you are really growing this sport with bricks and mortar from the bottom up, and an entire soccer nation is grateful to you for doing that. So congratulations and thank you. And while Deloy is a lot of fun, he's also very humble. And one of the things that I thought I'd share with everybody is that when he came into MLS, he wanted to do something for the city of Salt Lake and said, I love this town, I love this community, it's where I'm from, it's where my family is, it's where most of my business is, and I think sport is a great connector. And then he fell in love with the sport. And you should know that every group around him is contributing to the growth of the game in this city and now in this region, and that's now barreling across the country to put a foundation down so that we can truly be one of the leading soccer nations in the world. And in order to do that, it's not just about having a top first men's team, though that is something we're very, very laser focused on. It's also having teams below the first team, and the Monarchs are a great example of that, and one that requires a great commitment, and also it's the commitment to the Royals. We've got to build this sport from the bottom and be able to bring it up to the top so that we can be thought of like England and Spain, and England, Spain, and Italy, and France, and Brazil, and the rest of the football playing world. And in just 23 years, we're rapidly getting there. And there are a handful of people that have helped make that happen. 2 of them, though they're not here today, there are 2 guys who play for Real Salt Lake, Nick and Kyle, who've been MLS players for 19 years. I've been the commissioner now for 19 years, and I think we both started, the 3 of us started the same year. There are people who've been part of building this game for their lifetime, and now there are going to be young kids that are playing for the Real Academy program that are going to dream to one day play for the Royals, one day play for the Monarchs, or one day play for Real Salt Lake, to be coached by someone like Mike, to be able to see facilities like this that could help build this sport up so that we can be even more competitive than we are now. If we can do that, we can capture the values of the great athletes that we have. We believe that our athletes are the best athletes of any professional sport, and we're going to be great role models for the dozens and dozens of kids that are going to be playing for our academies, living and going to a high school here, which is unprecedented in Major League Soccer, and to try to lead the sport in ways where we all can be great. So Deloitte, thank you very much. I want to thank the folks from Zions Bank. You can't do this without great partners. I want to thank Mike and Martine and the rest of the coaches for the Royals and the Monarchs. This is something that we are so thankful for and something that all of you should be very proud of. Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Thank you, Commissioner. My pleasure to introduce RSL Chief Business Officer Andy Carroll.
Robert, would you come up for just a minute? The one thing that really kind of differentiates Real Salt Lake from a lot of the other clubs, and Robert Castellano is our Director of Partnerships, and I wanted to bring him up just as we have a discussion about what differentiates us from other markets. And it really is the community support that we have here in Utah, and it's people like yourselves that are here, and the great representation that we had when we announced the Royals team. So when you see our fan support, it's really amazing. But the other support that we also get is from our partners. And to be fair, when you think about us as a small market team, and you think about how competitive we are in the league that we're in, and how competitive the owners are, and how vested they are in winning, whether it's Toronto, massive market team with great interest in succeeding, or Seattle, and we just added Atlanta that gets 50,000 people a game, and you get same in Seattle and LAFC. So the ability for us, and I've said it a number of times, is what allows us to compete at this level is our corporate partner support. And we literally couldn't do it without it. And we have some of the best in the league. So for a small market team, we are top 5 in the league, top 6 in the league in partnership revenue, which we literally could not compete at the level that we do without it. So first I want to say thank you to all of the Real Salt Lake partners. Deloitte talked about Auric and the team that's been here, and they support us here at Rio Tinto Stadium as well. And they've really been, our partners get very involved, whether you're talking about Life Vantage, also involved here. We have Toro, who has been a great partner as well. I want to make sure we recognize them. Collins Roofing, Pepsi, all here at this facility. We couldn't do it without them. Chanshare Farms and Purple Mattresses as well, that were all partners. Some of them were already partners at Rio Tinto and Real Salt Lake partners, and some of them are new that bought off into the vision with regards to Deloitte's vision about this being the best facility in the world and making Real Salt Lake one of the best teams in the world. And that brings us to Zions Bank. And for us, I literally made one call to Rob Ruff, the Executive Vice President of Marketing and Communications for Zions Bank, and we set one meeting. And it was with Rob and with Scott Anderson, the CEO and President of Zions Bank. And they are an amazing brand, an amazing company that is really part of Utah's culture. I mean, it's the first chartered bank in Utah over 140 years ago, and I can tell you they have been partners of Deloitte's for a very long time. Not only Real Salt Lake, but have been personal and corporate partners with Deloitte for decades. And I know how meaningful that is to Deloitte. That when we made one call, and I got to be honest, the interesting thing is when we had pictures of this up up in the room, and I don't think that we could have ever envisioned that it would be anything like this, to be fair. Deloitte was the only one that actually knew what this was going to be, because we were just showing pictures up in the room, in a conference room. But the beauty of it is that, you know, Rob and Scott had the vision and knew that Deloy was going to succeed and that this was inevitable. So for us to have Zions Bank, which is just an amazing brand, and they don't, you know, everyone who's from Utah knows how subtle Zions Bank is. It's rare that they put their name on a stadium or a facility, and I can only say that we are extremely proud and privileged and honored to have Zions Bank here on the training center, on the academy, and on the stadium, and we feel like it's two world-class Utah brands, and we feel very, very, very fortunate to have it. So with that, I want to say thank you to all of our partners. Certainly thank you to the commissioner for being here, as well as all the other distinguished guests. And with that, I want to introduce Scott Anderson, the president and CEO of Zions Bank. And yeah, thank you, Scott.
Well, as a banker, I'm thrilled to be here and to see this structure here. I remember that meeting about a year and a half ago. And a year and a half ago is not that long ago. And to see the pictures and to see them transformed into this structure and the surrounding structures. And I think, Deloy, this is the largest building of its kind in North America and probably the world. Well, I will say in the world. I mean, it's just remarkable. And it's here because of the vision of Deloy Hansen. And this is good not only for soccer, but it's good for the city, it's good for the state, it's good for education, and it's good for our economy. So thank you, Deloy, for doing it. And you know, he really is a business genius, looking how he can put things together, how he can bring things together and bring people together to make marvelous things happen. And a good example is right here. You look at Andy. I mean, who would have thought that Deloy would have resurrected the idea of giving license to people for growing beards, which is what Peter the Great did years ago, and then you tax the people who have a license to grow a beard. So, Deloy, you're amazing. So, but we are thrilled to be here. We're thrilled to see this, and it's just a great thing for our, like I say, for our community, for the world of soccer, and for our economy. Thank you.
I just have to echo how proud I am that we call this the Zebra, Zions Bank Real Academy. Like it's Rio Tinto, the Riot, this is the Zebra. So it's Zions Bank Real Academy. So that's kind of what the moniker kind of got attached to it real quick. But I cannot tell you how proud I am that the stature of Zions Bank is attached to this. That is a blessing for Real Soccer, for this academy, for the high school. Their imprimatur is gigantic in my life, and thank you again. I hear way too much about me because I know what work others did, and it was legendary. We're going to go through some of those, but I need Ryan Marchand to come up right now. Is Ryan here? Ryan, there he comes. He has married my niece, so luckily I had somebody in the school business. So we kind of reached through the family and found someone who could really do great charter schools. And I have to tell you, he 100% thought through the curriculum, helped design the school, was there at every step of the way. And I want anybody who's in the school, stand up and cheer. Let's see that school. Look at that. Ryan's got something special, so we're going to take some minutes to focus on all the different players, but it's now Ryan's time, and I want you to know when you see him, thank him for this school. He did it, he got the curriculum, he designed it with us, he got all of the permits, he built a relationship with the Jordan School District that is amazing. I owe him a great debt of gratitude. Thank you, Ryan.
Well, thank you. you for that, Deloy. That's very nice of you. And, you know, a lot's been said today about vision. And when Deloy contacted me about the vision that he had for this soccer facility, it was amazing. And then he said he wanted to start a charter school here. And, you know, I think that that just fits in so nice to the vision. And again, he said, this is something that we want to do, and it fits into the moniker of what Real Salt Lake is. And essentially, it's the community's team. And so, what better place and what better, you know, idea than to have a public charter school right here with this, you know, world-class training facility. And so, you probably noticed when you were coming in, we had the wave going with some of the academy boys were doing that. We have a lot of fun at this school, and they are in awe, and our students are, when they walk through that door, you know, where the school is, and they walk out here and they say, this is where I get to practice, and I get to spend some time out here in this amazing facility. And so we've set forth essentially to be a fantastic STEM school, which we are, and then also a soccer school. But it's come with a lot of help. I know Deloitte gave me a lot of accolades, but I know I've had so much help along the way. And I just want to have Grant Stock. Could you stand up real quick? Grant's our principal, and he's been with me since the very beginning. And I got to tell you, he's done a fantastic job. Thank you, Grant, for all your work. And I could give lots and lots of thanks, but I just want our faculty and staff to stand up, if you would, for just a moment, so we can all recognize you as well. They do a tremendous job, and I can't tell you what a relief it is when I walk in the hallways and I can see that, you know, our faculty and staff are teaching, and there's a lot of education that's going on within the walls here at this great soccer facility. So thank you for all of your work. You guys are the ones that make this work on a daily basis. Now, our students, we still have some spots for next year. They're going fast. So if you are interested, please sign up, go to our webpage. But I want to recognize some of our students. We actually have a choir. We have two choirs, and they're going to sing here in just a moment. Our academy boys, they approached us and said, we hear all the singing going on, and how come we're not in a choir? So we said, can we have an academy choir? So we're going to hear from them. And it's actually pretty good. And then we have an all-female choir as well. So with that, I just want to turn the time over to them.
When the night has gone and the land is dark and the moon is the only I will see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. In the sky, there will come on. Shut up all and fall. For the mountain, shut up to the sea. I won't cry, I won't cry, I won't cry, I won't cry. No, I won't shed a tear. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me.
that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do ya? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 Say I took the name in vain, though I don't even know the name. But if I did, well, really, what's it to ya? There's a place of light in every word. It doesn't matter what you heard, the holy or the broken. Hallelujah, hallelujah, my best, it wasn't much. I could have been, so I tried to touch. I told the truth, I didn't come to fool ya. Even though it all went wrong, I'll stand before the Lord of song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah,
That was awesome, guys. Thank you so much. So you kind of get the spirit of what the school is all about, and we're grateful for them and for their singing. Just in closing, I want to thank two of our utmost partners, and the first one is the Jordan School District. We appreciate them and the relationship that we have with them, and the support that they've given us, and of course, supporting our charter application when we brought that to them, and they've been a fantastic partner for us. And then lastly, I want to thank Real Salt Lake and specifically Deloy for his unending support, and he's an amazing man, and we appreciate his support, and he has the vision for what he wants to do, and you just try and keep up, I guess, on some level. So we love being here, and we love those partnerships, and couldn't be a greater day. So thank you very much.
The next is amazingly important. Again, I didn't do this. I've got a great son-in-law who married my daughter Jenny, and he lived under my tutelage, tutelage, you could call it whatever one you want. But he, working with Herriman, put together this land and this situation, and he spent innumerable hours. So I want to introduce John Lindsley, and then with him, I want to introduce Craig Martin. Craig knows what a lie it is to say I built this, right, Craig?
You had a
Say
lot
yes.
to do with it.
Okay. Craig has to show up at 6 o'clock meetings every Tuesday. How many did I come to?
Quite a few.
2. Okay. Honesty is the best policy. Craig is an amazing partner. He runs all of our facilities. There's no reason he's such a great construction leader. There's no reason he should be as good as he is. But I've been at this 40 years, and Craig's as good as they get. This facility, from an ownership side and directing the decisions with architects and planning and subcontractors and change orders, financing, flows through Craig. So I may have had a vision, but Craig executed that vision to a T. And these two men, when you think of this, you have to see them or you haven't seen what happened. And I'm grateful that they're both my friends. Thank you.
Well, thanks everybody, first off, for coming out to this spectacular event. This is something we've been looking forward to for quite some time. I just want to take a minute to go into the background and the story of how this really came to fruition. I was working on South Hills. There's some residential land around here that we're investors in, and Deloitte is a major part of. And while I was doing that, I had the opportunity to work with a great city, and Herriman City and their staff, and we were just elbows up working on a project out here, and just so happened that the deal we were working on the fairgrounds just didn't quite happen. There's obviously a story behind that, and it wasn't the next day that my friend Gordon Haight at Herriman City had mentioned a crazy idea to me, and he said, what's the chance of us possibly getting that filled? Because keep in mind, at that point, it was just one field. It was a very simple theory. It was very productive, but we took it and we ran with it, and let me tell you, it was a crazy idea at the moment. We thought about the area, we thought about the fields, we thought about location, and we started measuring. It's 10 minutes away from Rio Tinto. There were some things that really came to light, and it started out with Jordan School District, Rosecrest, Mike Bradshaw, these guys that came together to help us put together some land. So we had about, maybe 30 acres or so, and at that point it seemed like a pretty good footprint for a pretty big facility. And then another crazy idea happened, and that was acquiring more land. So to kind of get to the bottom of it, we really had some great support from Herriman City, who led the charge in helping us to utilize the city's resources to help make something like this happen. It's a collaborative effort. There's no way that just a simple developer can put something together without strong support from a city. And I'll tell you, this city has some of the best staff that there is in this area, hands down. So as we started to grow, we started counting the fields, and I remember Deloitte telling me, and this will always stick with me, when I proposed more land, he looked at me and said, what are we going to do with all this land? And then, if you guys know Deloitte well enough, it didn't take more than another second for the vision to set in. And we started programming, and we worked tirelessly for probably a year, every single week, meeting with the city, dedicating resources and figuring out how we could make this happen. And there was a lot of people that helped us get to that point. So I'll go through a list of other people, and I also want to let Craig speak as well, but there's many people that helped us make this happen. It was definitely not just one effort. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Well, Deloitte said earlier that he does not like having too much praise placed upon him and likes to spread that out amongst his people. But at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is, none of this would have happened without you. So I know you didn't want me to say it, but I have to, so I apologize. So again, please, let's give Deloitte a big round of applause. And Deloitte has built a culture here at RSL. It's very rare when you get to an organization such as this with so many departments and so many people that everybody ends up pulling the rope the same direction. And we're fortunate enough to be able to have that in our organization with regard to the team, the ticketing staff, sponsorship, everybody involved. Without that cooperation, that collective cooperation, this certainly wouldn't be possible. But it doesn't necessarily sit within just the realm of our organization. There's a lot of people. It's a huge team effort to be able to pull off a magnificent structure like this. And there are some people that I would like to
thank and make note of. So I'll try to go through this list relatively quickly. But when I get to your name, if you wouldn't mind, if you would at least just put your hand up or stand. Stand up and stay standing. Here you go. Stand up and stay standing. So first of all,
yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Johnny and I, since we both worked with Herriman City sort of in a tag team fashion, we're kind of going to both stand up here and acknowledge these people.
So I want to start with the former mayor, Carmen Freeman. He was just an asset throughout this process with support. So I'm not sure if he's here or not, but if he is, we want to recognize him. The new mayor, David Watts, Brent Wood, city manager, Gordon Haight, this gentleman behind me here, Heather Upshaw, I know you're out there too, I saw you, Bryn McCarty. Let me tell you, all cities should implement the way that Bryn and the Planning and Zoning Department of Herriman City run this department. It is far superior, and they have been great to work with, so thanks, Bryn. Catherine Nilsson, Justin Edwards, Alan Ray, Wendy Thomas, John Brems, Blake Thomas and Jonathan Bowers. City Council, Jared Henderson, Nicole Martin, Coralie Moser, and Craig Tishner. Some are here, some were previous, but I believe they would still be here, so please stand as well. And the entire Planning Commission staff, Wade Budge and Allison Hale with Snell and Wilmer. South Valley Sewer District, Mike Forrester and Craig White. Just unbelievable to work with, so thanks guys for your support. The America First Credit Union with Sherry Cheney, Dave Hanks, and Tyler Mathis. Landscape Solutions, Kyle and Joe, and then I'll let Craig tell his.
I also want to recognize two former council members that aren't in office now, but were when the genesis of this entire structure and this whole idea and development began. Coralie Westman Moser and Craig Tishner. If you are both here, I'd like you to stand up as well. And then there's numerous other people that I would also like to recognize. Wasatch Commercial Builders acted as the general contractor on this project. The president of Wasatch Commercial Builders, Scott Overman, is unfortunately will not be able to make it here today, but there are a few other people that I do want to recognize and ask that they stand up if they would. Eric Waite. Eric was our superintendent and was an absolute warrior on this project, so please give him a round of applause. This man lived and breathed this facility just as much as anybody else, if not more, so he deserves all the credit in the world for what he's done. Another warrior that had to crunch the numbers, and as we know with Deloitte, it's very important to be able to crunch the numbers and do them correctly and in a timely manner. The chief estimator for WCB, Marcus Brady. There you are. And also rounding out Wasatch Commercial Builders staff in this project, this process, Shane Draper, Chris Lindley, Mark Wilson, and Charlie D'Annunzio. All of you were just phenomenal and still continue to be, because there's still some work left to be done on the stadium. So let's not hang up our hats yet, and let's keep moving forward. I also want to talk a little bit about the architects. As you look around here, you'll probably gather this is not really a cookie cutter building. It's not like stadiums of the 70s where, you know, Riverfront and the Vet, they all looked alike. This is a very unique structure, and when you're not building anything that's cookie cutter like this, it takes a lot of design and thought and development, and we are blessed to have such an architectural staff that partnered with us on this. So I want to recognize EDA Architects, who was the chief architect on this entire project. So if you would, when I call your name, please stand. Tom Brennan, Stephanie McCarthy. Oh, there we go. We have one of them. Jake Hill, another absolute warrior on this project. He has done a phenomenal job, morning, noon, and night. Always available and always willing to help. His attitude has just been stupendous. Tanya Schneider was involved in so much of the design.
I gotta take Tanya real quick. I have this crazy dream that I like Piet Mondrian as a painter. And there's some soccer implications I won't go into. So I had this crazy vision that we'd create the largest Mondrian painting in the world here. And Tanya thought it was a crazy vision, but not crazy enough that she didn't work tirelessly with me to create what is a very famous art project on the back and front of this building. Now, it may look like red, white, and blue squares, but it really is high art. So Google Piet Mondrian, and you'll go, wow, Tanya did that for me. Thank you, Tanya.
Believe it or not, we've had some elementary school art classes that have actually traveled to the building and used this side of our building as an example of Piet Mondrian. So I thought that was interesting. Great work. Also from EDA, I want to recognize Peter Emerson, who is no longer with the company, but was around during the inception of it, and he was invaluable with his input and leadership. And then I'd also like to recognize another person that's not with EDA anymore, but was just as important as any in this process, and that's Eric Migatz. Big round of applause for EDA, our architectural firm. I'd also like to recognize our structural engineer, ARW, Robert Doc Moyle. If you're here, I'd love for you to stand up. There you are. Thank you, Doc, for all your hard work. And our mechanical engineer, Colvin Engineering, Steve Connor and Rob Van, if you're here. Oh, it looks like they skipped today, but thank you anyway. I'm getting close to the end, so I apologize if I'm taking too long with these names. But our civil engineer, Infinity Consultants. This is again a project that, as the commissioner noted, went from one step about 15 times past what it was originally going to be to ultimately get to what you see here today. And when you go through so many changes, it becomes very difficult because you're redoing your work and having to add and just move along a process that you didn't originally think that you were going to have to endure. But these guys did it and did it with a smile on their face, and they were phenomenal the entire time. So from Infinity Consultants, Reed Dixon, Scott McFarland, and Stephen Marks. Thank you, gentlemen. And rounding out the list of names, and again, I'll be pretty brief with this. We have so many subcontractors that worked on this building, and I'll probably forget some of them. So if I do, I apologize, but I did work tirelessly to try and make sure that I got everybody's name involved in here. It takes, again, a huge team and a collective effort, and without the help and the effort that these companies put in, we'd never be where we are here today. These are in no particular order, so I'll just go down the list. Earthwork was done by Sunrock, Ernie Thornton and Jeremy Hafen. Geneva Products, Gordon Brady. Frontline Concrete, George Evans and Aaron Darty. AK Masonry, you can see there's a lot of masonry in this building if you look around. Travis Kimball and Braden Buchanan. I only have 3 names here for Nucor Steel, and I know that there are many more involved in this project than just these 3. But we did talk about the size of the structure here, and what we've been told is it is the largest pre-engineered supportless or columnless steel, pre-engineered steel structure in North America. So that is an incredible achievement that Nucor was able to build this thing. And when you look at the vastness of the structure, I mean, you're looking at 525 feet wide, 400 feet from end to end, and on a diagonal it's about 624 feet. And to be able to put 210,000 square feet under one roof with no support columns takes a lot of engineering. So Nucor, I'd like to recognize Grant Roth, Austin Black, and Brent Ballou. Again, I know there are many others that are here, and I'd like to recognize every one of you. So if you're from Nucor, please stand up. Thank you. Advanced Steel had to erect all of the engineered steel that Nucor was responsible for. From Advanced Steel, Derek Woodward, Brandon Dawson, and Jeremy Jones. The Wasatch Boswell Mill. There's a lot of mill work in this building. Some of this stuff has really been handcrafted, and we had a great partner in Boswell. So I'd like to recognize Chris Boswell and Kenny Sperry, please. When Andy was up here, he spoke about some of our partners a lot of them are not only are our corporate partners, but they also do a lot of work for us in the construction field. One of those is Collins Roofing. Chris Bowman, please stand up. Thank you, sir. CP Flooring, Mike Thurston and Brian Forsberg. Shamrock Plumbing, Bill Payne. What a great man. Rob Allen, Bill Payne, and Jason Hahn. Precision Mechanical. Interesting story about this building. Its vastness would usually think that you would have a massive central plant for HVAC in this building, but we decided that we were going to go with small residential style furnaces, and they number in the, I believe, 80s or 90s across this building, which allowed us a little bit greater control. This was Deloy's idea. A lot of people looked at him and thought, why would you want to do that in a building that's 210,000 square feet? And that's just the indoor big box, not the surrounding structure. But at the end of the day, he was right, and it's worked out perfectly. So Precision Mechanical, Todd Owsley, Chad Owsley, and Carlos Barboza. Hunt Electric. These guys went above and beyond, and they went through thick and thin with us, and they've been fantastic, and we couldn't have worked with a better electrical contractor. Sam Davis, Jason Harris, Darren Sanders, and the one and only Shane Sidwell. Chase & Associates provided the furniture, the beautiful furniture that you see in this building, in addition to some of the custom millwork that was done by Boswell Wasatch. Nola Chase and Ashley Pike. Performance Audio, all the TVs that you saw on the tour and all the music you heard are being pumped through equipment that was provided by Performance Audio, Brad Whipple and Jake Peary. Summit Technologies, our IT partner, takes a lot of work to be able to provide a wireless network in a building such as this. So I'd like to recognize Dave Carlson and Travis Brower. From Beacon Metals, Doors and Door Hardware, Chad Riches. One of our security partners, the up-and-coming security company Pro Data Key, Evan Tree and Jeff Perry. DSI, one of the installers, Tyler Barnett and Chad Barnett. These next two groups kind of fall into the same category as Collins Roofing, partners with us not only in corporate partnerships or in sponsorship, but also in construction. Toro, or Turf Equipment and Irrigation, Tyler Sorensen, Davey Elgren, and Jason Moon. Et al. Chanshire Farms provided us with the sod that is covered under snow outside on the lower field. So unfortunately, you're not able to see what it looks like, but rest assured it is there. Buster Marble, Brett Marble, Tyrell Marble, you can see it's a family operation, and Allison Smith. There are two enormous signs that are just adjacent to Mountain View Quarter to the west of us. One is up and operating. The other one is still being built, but will be operational here in the next few weeks. From Young Electric Sign Company, Jeff Krantz and Scott Glazer. Thank you for your hard work. I know I wasn't the easiest guy in the world to deal with, so I appreciate you being able to handle that. Oric Solar, another corporate partner and another construction partner. We're standing actually under 2,800 solar panels on this side of the roof. They've been a fantastic partner and a fantastic group of guys to deal with. Again, not only are they partners here, but they're also partners with us over at the stadium, and we've known and been involved with them for the last 3 years now, and they're phenomenal. So I wanted to give a shout out to Trent Van Sice, Jess Phillips, Nick Evans, Derek Smith, and Faniel Bishop. He's the brains behind the operation. I forget his name. I apologize. Allied sign and awning, as you walk around this building, you see all the directional signage. You see a lot of the artwork that's done in wall wraps. When you came in your park, you went by a big monument sign that had the RSL and Real Monarchs logo. That was provided by Allied Sign and Awning. Monica Collard, owner and president, Randy George, and Nick English. And that rounds out the sub portion, but I did want to, or subcontractor portion, I did want to throw out a thank you to our staff, some of which moved over from the stadium and now work here at the Zebra, and some are new hires. But I want to give them some recognition because this event was put together by them. The programming that happens in this building is done by them. These guys put in a great, honest effort day in and day out, and they're excellent role models for people to follow. I'd like to thank Justin Nelson, our Director of Operations here at this facility. David Harris, who is our Director of Event Services and literally put this event together himself with the help of few, but he had a few sleepless nights trying to put this one together. J.C. Perea, our Director of Marketing and Ticketing. Ryan Krieger, our Programming Manager. And then I do want to also thank Carlos Acevedo, who worked hand in hand with me and with Johnny and with the construction company. And without his knowledge, especially in the tech world, we wouldn't have been able to accomplish what we did. So, Carlos, thank you. And the rest of the staff, thank you. And I also do want to say thank you, last but not least, to Dan Boyd and Wade Sessions from the Wasatch Restaurant Group. A lot of the food that you're eating today and a lot of the meals, all the meals that the players eat are provided under their watch. So Dan and Wade, thank you very much. I guess now one of the prime visionaries, in addition to Deloy, through Herriman City, is our Assistant City Manager, Gordon Hates. I don't know if you wanted to add anything, John, or?
Yeah, I just, as you can tell, it takes a lot of people, and we know that we've probably left some out because there's just too many to go through. You guys will be here for a long time, but I want to take a minute myself to thank where it comes from, the support at home. And she's going to hate me for this, but my wife, Jenny, I want to thank. She's over there hiding, and she won't look around, but trust me, as Deloy knows, she is Wonder Woman, and for her to help support us to be able to do what we need to do to make things like this happen is it's just invaluable. So she's my rocks, family always. Thanks, Jenny. So now I want to turn it over to Gordon Haight from the Herriman City Assistant Manager.
When the city first heard of this project, that it was going to be introduced into the valley, I immediately went to our city manager, Brett Wood, and said, Herriman would be a perfect fit for this project. And with the blessing of the city council, Heather Upshaw and I were responsible we got the green light to bring this project to Herriman. And so immediately we started calling John Lindsley and Craig Martin. We were trying to set up meetings. We disrupted their work. And Deloy had to make a decision as to whether he was going to issue a restraining order against us so his people could get working, or he was going to move this project to Herriman. And it has been a fantastic project. Deloy, thanks for not doing the restraining order and bringing this project to Herriman. We now have a beautiful stadium, academy, and practice facility that I believe is going to be far-reaching impact, even worldwide. Sports have long been recognized as a popular metaphor for achieving greatness in life, and soccer is the most popular sport in the world. With the combination of academics and soccer, this facility is going to inspire generations, and particularly the youth. It's more than just brick and mortar. It's a beacon of excellence that the human spirit, what it can achieve. So on behalf of Herriman City, we want to welcome Zions Bank Real Academy to Herriman. Thank you.
Yeah, we've got a plaque.
this will be put outside on the stadium. This will honor the city of Herriman, the different people that contributed mightily there, and we want, in particular, I want to thank Herriman. You invited us into your city, and thank you.
They are pests. Herriman they pestered us mightily, but they showed us great ideas. Whenever we hit a roadblock, and we hit numerous roadblocks, they knocked them all down. Just couldn't ask for a better city to work with. It was fun to go to meetings. Geez, tell me I get to go to a zoning meeting and think that's going to be fun. You know, it's an amazing city. We're proud to put this as the home field for a professional soccer club, the Monarchs. So you've got a professional soccer team that calls Herriman home. Maybe on the back of that we'll paint a big sign, Herriman. So when they fly over, they're going to know where they're at. Now is the fun part, and I'm going to introduce Mike Petke and his crew with Craig Weibel and Mike Petke. I'm getting my names in front. Craig is the architect, Mike is the executor, and there's a whole huge staff under that. But they've got this RSL Way video, and then I'd like to welcome you guys to the stand.
Real Salt Lake has become a standard bearer in the Major League Soccer landscape, a small market David smashing Goliaths from across North America. With a fervent fan base and owner Deloy Hansen's astronomical aspirations, complacency is not an option in Utah. Under Mike Petke's guidance, Real Salt Lake was among the best teams in MLS in the second half of the season and has high expectations in his first full season at the helm. Mark Briggs led the Monarchs to the best record in the USL, hoisting the regular season shield at Rio Tinto Stadium. In 2018 is a new era on the Wasatch Front. While hopes build for RSL and the Monarchs, they will be joined in their quest for championship gold by the newly minted Utah Royals FC in the National Women's Soccer League. And who better to take the reins than two-time NWSL Coach of the Year, Laura Harvey. But the pro teams aren't alone. RSL's highly touted academy program made the move from Arizona, which has been home since its inception, to a new state-of-the-art training facility and STEM school in Herriman. Zions Bank Real Academy is the home for Martin Vasquez and the academy teams, as well as RSL and the Monarchs. The $78 million facility is unprecedented for this continent, with additional satellite facilities springing to life across the Wasatch Front. Real Salt Lake isn't just setting the standard for clubs across North America, it's putting the bar out of reach for any and all competition. Deloy Hansen is building a legacy in a unique and innovative way, the only way he knows how, the RSL way.
Thank you. Before I get started, we have three rookies sitting right here. Aaron Herrera, Corey Badd, and Ricky Lopez Espin. You guys want to come up and sing? No? Do they have a choice, guys? I mean, should they? We'll get back to that. No. Listen, welcome. Thank you for coming here today. I'm going to be very brief. I believe we're in the midst of building the best pyramid in sports, and it's right here in Utah. And it's because of one man, a man with unbelievable vision, commitment, and passion. A man that, when I first met, sold me in 5 minutes to come out to Utah. Took a while for my wife and kids to leave the beaches of New Jersey to come out to the mountains, but sold me in 5 minutes. And that's Mr. Deloy Hansen. So I wanted to thank him immediately off the bat. Just going to thank a couple of people. Thank you for your support of my staff, okay? Now, my staff is preparing for our Dallas game this weekend, but Todd Hofford, our goalie coach, is here. Please stand up. Freddie Juarez, who's our assistant coach, is in Dallas scouting right now. Ted Eck and Tyrone Marshall at home getting ready for the game. To Mark Briggs, who, by the way, his stadium is going to be right through these doors out here, 5,000-seat stadium. Close friend of mine. I'm his #1 fan and the team's #1 fan. I encourage all of you here to check out some games here. So for Mark Briggs, please stand up. Now, I know you have practice. Mark Briggs' staff is sitting right over there. They're setting stuff up. Hamas and Olave, I want to recognize down there Danny Cruz, as well as Mac Laser from the Monarchs. So, Mark, You're free to leave to go set up for training, my man. I know that's what you wanted. To Martin Vasquez, who's here. Martin, where you at? There he is. Yep. I did a little bit of a speech last night, and I'm going to repeat what I said. Not many people here realize the caliber of coach that Martin is. For me to have him a part of this organization with the academy, somebody who has coached at Bayern Munich, somebody has coached with the national team, and I have him at my disposal, for these kids to bring them up to me. Sometimes I feel like I know I'm learning a lot more from you, Martin, than perhaps you're learning from me. So thank you very much for everything. Finally, for the sporting side, I want to welcome Laura Harvey. Laura, if you please stand up. I've done one or two of these, and I think I embarrassed her one time, but I won't embarrass you now. It's been an honor to get to know you, an honor to have you on the field with me during my preseason. I hope, and I'm not sure if I'll ever get that reciprocated, but love to come out to one of your practices at some time. But then to go back to Mr. Hansen, your push for equality in sports is commendable. It's unbelievable, and it's wonderful. We're fully supportive of Laura and her team and the Royals, and I'm so happy that you're here. So congratulations. Last couple of things for me. I would like a couple of people to stand up. Can Danny Acosta, Jose Hernandez, Sebastian Saucedo, Brooks Lennon, Justin Glad, Aaron Herrera, and Corey Badd, please stand up. Stand up, stay there for 1 second. I'd like to talk to the academy players right now directly, all right? This is, how many are there, 6? These are 6 players who came up from the academy and are playing on the first team right now. They did that when they were located in Arizona and we were here, okay? They've done that through hard work, through great coaching, okay, and doing the right things. You guys have this at your disposal right now. Not only that, you have the Monarchs under the same building as you, and you have the first team here, all right? So 6 players worked from Arizona to get here to be a first team player, okay? National team players as well, youth national team players, and we had 3 of them that get called up to the full national team, all right? You guys are here. The opportunity that you have, what has been provided for you here should never be taken for granted from you guys, and I know it will never be. So congratulations to you guys for all the work you've been doing so far and the results you've had and how you're playing, and I'm counting down the days till I have as many as you as I can with the first team. So thank you. And lastly for me, I would like all the Royals players to stand up, please. The Monarchs players, if they're here, I know they have training. If the Monarchs players are here, stand up. The RSL players, please stand up, all of you. The Academy players, please stand up. And all the high school students, please stand up. As well as the Discovery Youth players. I'd like everybody else to stand up now and give them applause, all right? This is the future of RSL in all facets of it. All right, and before I hand it over to one of my 2 bosses, I think I only have 2 bosses, right? The main one and you, to fill in anybody I forgot. One last thing I want to leave you with. Trey, I believe it's your birthday today, isn't it? So happy birthday to you. And to put this to rest, please, for the last time. Who else? Justin Glad? We'll deal with you tomorrow of training, all right? But for right now, it's Trey, all right? Trey, if you have any cake, I'm going to put this to rest. I don't want to hear from anybody anymore. Hand it out, Trey. Hand out some cake. Craig Weibel, everybody.
The good thing about going last is you guys have the optimism of me finishing quickly. And with everyone that's been thanked and all the credit that's been given out, I'll just take all of it. Since I'm last, I can do that, I think. No, but realistically, this all started with kind of Kranz and Deloy asking me a silly question 3 years ago, what would you do if you could do anything? I 100% drew and said things that were ridiculous. they're all in front of you today. So thank you, because rarely do you actually get asked a question. You get to dream, and it comes true, and it's amazing. We have women now. I mean, my daughter, you guys have all seen me cry, so don't worry about it. I'll do it again sooner or later. The fact that she gets to be inspired by all of you is amazing to me. I want to quickly thank some people, and it's not as long a list as Craig, so bear with me for all three names. In the summer, we had a U15 boys team travel to Japan and play in a tournament, and the hosts were amazing. Our boys were treated like professionals while they were there. They stayed with host families. An incredible opportunity. And three of their representatives have been brave enough to travel the world just to be here today. So I want to quickly thank Yoshiyuki Kato, Ben Tang, and Tetsuya Okuda. Please stand up just quickly. An amazing and strong relationship that's already been established on the soccer side. I can quickly end this. The glory hounds of any organization are the people that get to be on TV, and that's our players. On occasion, they force me to go on TV. My dream job is that we put together teams and players that are proud to be in their community, as ours are, that are role models, that believe in who we are as an organization. If no one ever knows my name, that's pretty awesome for me, because these are the people that deserve the credit. There's a reason they're in front of you on the weekends. There's a reason your sons and daughters will dream to become them. And thank you guys, because you allow me to do my job on a daily basis with this much emotion. So I appreciate it. If I keep going, I'm going to cry, so appreciate it.
I want to thank Craig. He doesn't get enough. He gets all of the pain and none of the credit. I think there's no tougher job in an organization than being a GM. You got to tell everybody no. I get to come in and I'm friends with all the players. He's going to tell you something's wrong with your contract, Justin. Who's going to tell you? It's going to be Craig. He's got to do all that tough stuff. I'll tell you, go in and fight for it, and he's got to tell you the bad news. So I've always believed in Machiavelli. I get all the good news, he gets all the bad news. But Craig is amazing. I can't give him enough credit for the effort he put in bringing the Royals here. We did it in record time. We did it with aplomb. We were able to get Stephanie Lee. She needs to stand up. Scott needs to stand up as our GM. Scott, he's hiding out. There he goes. Shaved his head just for the occasion. I'll tell you one last thing as we sum, because this is Craig's latest accomplishment. He had the main team to cover. He had the Monarchs to cover. We've got a great staff. But he really put his head into this women's team, and he said, this is something we're going to make great. I guarantee you that we are here to build the very best club team in the world around the Royals. We're committed to that. The NWSL is the top women's league in the world. There's 9 teams in it. We'll be contending for one of the top 2 here. We've identified those in Europe who's good. We're going after them. When I look at these women, I like that steely-eyed. I see Becky's steely-eyed look, and she's just going to nail them right to the wall. This is something you can't afford to miss. Tell all your friends. We've now brought the full spectrum of soccer to Utah. Training from the ground up, women's program that will just be enhanced over time, that'll reach right down to 7-year-olds. And we will have 2 complete pyramids of soccer progression that arrive at these top 2 teams. But what a joy it is to see this community. Listen to Craig thank so many people that did this. To be grateful to have had the resources. When I see all my Wasatch friends, everybody from Wasatch stand up. They hand me the money. I don't have to work anymore. They send me checks every month, and then I hand it to construction. But this team here produces the wealth that goes into this team. And so thank you. And they do a brilliant job. We've all had a great day. The Monarchs are going to be overtraining. We've got great food in the back. It's been an amazing celebration, but we wanted to say thank you. If it got long, there's a lot of people that need thank yous. And I'm just grateful that, wow, how did lightning hit that I got here. So thank you. Have a great day.